The question, of course, is can we see as robust mutual fund flows as we did in the month of December? Can they really continue throughout this year, or will the market volatility impact investors at some point at all, even though it's not akin to the nature of mutual fund investment per se? But let's throw light on what the observations have been. We've got Feroze Azeez, Deputy CEO Anand Rathi Wealth, joining in on the show, and we also have with us Sanjay Shah, CMD at Prudent Corporate Advisory, here on the show. Gentlemen, hi, both of you. Thanks for joining in. Feroze, let me come to you first. I mean, astounding figures, yet again a record number. But tell me, is the trend across the country between tier 1, 2 and 3 cities as unanimous?
Good morning. I personally think that, like you rightly pointed out, the retail participation has been robust, thanks to the kind of education which media channels, AMCs, and corporates like Prudent have focused on getting larger participation. Is why you see the SIP number going up, the number of folios going to 22 crores. So coming back to your pointed question, is the trend different between tier 1 to tier 4 cities? The answer is yes. Tier 1 is more concentrated, larger HNI kind of business. The ticket sizes of each folio would be dramatically different. That's point one. Point two, I think the tier 3 and tier 4 are more stickier, because lesser the advice, the better it is for an SIP investor, is what we have realized. In tier 4, there's lesser tracking of the market. There's more discipline, because they've been practicing it in chit funds and other unstructured, disciplined investing. So I would say tier 4, I would presume the hypothesis that it's more sticky. Tier 1 is larger tickets, more information reaching them, more application of mind, and unwanted, heart-driven, emotion-driven decisions are happening. And that's what I have seen as a trend from 2001. HNIs have been lot indecisive in equity than the retail. Because HNI wants to time the market, retail has no such aspiration, especially tier 4.
So a very, very secular trend across the country. But let me bring Sanjay also into the conversation. Sanjay, of course, the SIP numbers have been very strong. But how's the retail sentiment when it comes to the volatility regarding F&O and even the SME segment over the last few minutes? What are you picking up within that basket of activity?
No, I think you are bang on, because I can just tell you retail ka I think sentiment बहुत ही strong है, and retail has just continuously supported in the market. So I believe if you look at the number of SIP, if you look at last year December 23, we are roughly we were at about 17,000 crore, and this month we crossed 26,000 crore. So in last 1 year, जो मेहनत पूरी म्यूचुअल फंड इंडस्ट्री ने बरसों तक करी थी, and we reached to 17,000 crore in December 23. 50% of that money has been given by retail investors in last 1 year. So I think the retail sentiment is significantly better. You are true, because people has not been making a lot of money in F&O, which has been the regulator has also been telling. So we believe that agar the retail has the bad experience on one side in F&O, they have a very quality experience in the mutual funds, and specifically through SIP. So mera manna hai, if they are unable to generate proper return and they are not happy in the F&O, virtually they have to come to mutual fund for generating wealth for a longer term.
Right. Sanjay, the other thing I also wanted to talk about, the monthly targets that you specifically are looking at, Prudent, when it comes to the SIP numbers and the overall AUM targets that you're now working with, given the success of SIPs and the kind of inflows that one has seen in just the past few months alone.
So I think if you remember, we have been very clear about our target for the AUM and the SIP book. Our target of reaching 1 lakh crore AUM and the 1,000 crore of SIP book was for this entire year by March 26. We are fortunate that 1 lakh crore ka target हमारा September में achieve हो गया because of significant mark to market. When it comes to SIP, we are now close to 935 crore when we ended the December. And I believe we are on track as far as reaching that 1,000 crore target is concerned. I can tell you about the industry. My belief is that, as I already told you, in last 1 year, we added roughly about 8 to 9,000 crore in this SIP book. हम 17,000 crore से 26,000 crore की तरफ पहुंचे हैं. If I assume that same 8,000, 9,000 crore, which is roughly, I believe that it's a approximation or the expectation is reasonable. तो आने वाले 3 साल के अंदर मेरा मानना है कि that today we have the SIP book of 26,000 crore, it can easily cross 50,000 crore in next 3 years. Similarly, if I talk about the prudent, as we are approaching March and we are very comfortable that we'll be able to reach our target of 1,000 crore, we have been adding roughly about 250 crore yearly SIP book के अंदर. तो वो भी अगर मैं आने वाले 3 साल की बात करूं तो we should easily have a very comfortable target of reach 1,800 crore, 2,000 crore in next 3 years from 1,000 crore by March end.
Wow, 50,000 crore worth of SIP every month within a matter of next 3 years. Feroze, would you agree with that kind of, outlook? 50,000 crores? I mean, I don't know what will it do to the markets, because of late, of course, it's only DIs that have been supporting the markets while FIs have been taking money off the table.
Yes, Anisha, I think I completely subscribe to what Sanjay Bhai has said. In fact, 3.5, 4 years back, I predicted 25,000 when the number was 8,000 and people thought it was too extensive, well, too large a number. I think 50,000 over the next 3 years is going to be breeze, and especially one of the largest SIP distributor is talking to you and he's giving you that confidence. I'm sure it's very easy to extrapolate the kind of energy in this space. Point one. Point two, if this kind of money comes, what will happen to the market? I think nothing much will happen because there's also an expansion of supply coming in. Now, if you look at the number of IPOs which are filed with SEBI, they're almost at the peak waiting to come to the market. So there's good paper coming into the market. There are great family businesses, run businesses, intergenerational businesses getting listed. When I speak to the HNI segment, it is more or less now the promoters are thinking it's their duty to get listed and make India participate in the growth story of their businesses. That's point two. Point three, I think 50,000 crores is still very, very small an amount. I don't know what's this narrative about equity being supported by retail. Debt was supported by retail. Real estate is supported by retail. Indian gold is supported by retail for years. Last financial year, the total household savings was 34 lakh crore, out of which 42% has gone into deposits. 20% has gone into pension funds and provident funds. And only 7% has gone into mutual fund, including debt and equity. And people still say deposit is not growing because mutual fund is taking the cake. 42% kahan hai aur 7% kahan hai? Right? I think why are yields so low? If all the Indian retail decides to not do FDs, interest rate should have been at 13%. Right? 42% of Indian household saving is going into FDs, is why we see interest rates in India at GSEC level or government level. Government is being funded by retail for years, decades. Now, first time, if it is supporting the Indian equity market, people thinking that yaar ye puri market isi wajah se hai kyunki retail equity ke piche padi hui hai. 7% piche padna nahi kehte usko.
I take your point, but I think what people are trying to really talk about is the incremental interest coming in. And I think that's just the positive. The financialization of savings is finally happening, because if I remember it right, you had compared debt to being as bad for health as smoking, right?
Yes, Anisha. And I'll tell you, see, you have a large role to play as a very responsible media house. I see education as one of the key pillars on which ET now has operated. All this education has to create an inflection point, has to create a critical mass. I think that's the critical mass we are almost reaching. See, anything which reaches a critical mass becomes the talk on a dinner table. Once it happens, then people are sharing their experiences. And that critical mass is what equity was not reaching for decades in India. I think it's another 2-3 years away that it reaches critical mass once and you have a large role to play. And I should be grateful to you as a media house, and I'm associated with this media house from the basic fundamental association of thought process that we have to educate people in the right direction.
Absolutely, and the partnership really runs hand in hand, Feroze, is all I can say. But thank you so much for taking the time out and joining in. It's Adeep, thanks to you as well.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.